And we are at First State Lanes for the Major Boys Youth Top 10 Tournament. And this is the Major Division. This is our 20th tournament. And stepping up to the line to start us off, we have Rob Viles from Blue Hen Lanes. With me today is Brandon Moon, our assistant on the Bowlers Gazette. And Rob starts off. He's got a little problem with tendonitis today. So we'll see what he can do to overcome that. Brandon, you've bowled on TV. Is it a little different than it is bowling regularly in tournament?
For some people, like me, I got a little bit nervous and started to rush to the line. That may be the case for Rob. He may be a little nervous for the early going.
Okay, leaves a 10 pin, gives him 9 in the first. And coming up now is Viles-Hutchison, also from Blue Hen Lanes. Dan was the second highest average in the Major Boys this year.
Just a little light for Dan.
And he leaves himself a 2 pin. And he makes a spare. Dan is 18. And he's been bowling for 11 years. Brother and sister, Matt and Jan. His dad is Ron. And what got him interested in bowling? Believe it or not, he went to a birthday party. Looks like the lanes are a little bit tight, Brandon.
I'm not positive, but I do believe earlier today the lanes were oiled. No one's bowled on 1 and 2 all day, so it's a fresh shot in the first match today.
And a nice spare for Dan. And we'll get another look at Rob Viles.
Rob's 17 years old. This is his second year of bowling.
He's doing pretty good for only a second-year bowler. And yes, indeed, he's bowling good. In the qualifying for the tournament, Rob was the tournament leader with 1831 for the 9 games, followed by Dan with 1818. And third place went to Jared Pierce, also a Blue Hen, with a 1779. Tournament took place, Pleasant Hill, Price Lanes, and First State. And the finals, of course, are here at First State again this year. 1-2-8 for Rob. Bowlers are having a little bit of difficulty getting up into the head pin. Rob's high game was a 257 in the tournament. And he had a 702 series, and that was at Pleasant Hill. And a miss for Rob.
Again, the lanes are oily. They're going to have to make a major adjustment in early going into the match. You don't want to wait until the end of the match to figure out what's going on here.
And here's Viles-Hutchison. Still coming up and not quite up to the pocket. And I did make an error on there. The tournament was supposed to be at Pleasant Hill, Price Lanes at First State, but we made a last-minute change and moved to Brookside for the second round of competition. And a spare for Dan. Dan's a very serious bowler. And he's done very well. He's placed or won 7 times in the Junior Bowlers Tour. He's got 7 titles. Team champion twice in the Wilmington YABA. He's a scratch champion also twice. Took scratch all events. And he bowls in the varsity league at Blue Hen. Biggest influence on his bowling is his dad, because he was always willing to coach me and take me bowling. And a miss for Dan. That gives him 52 in the 4th, and we'll be right back with more after these messages. And we're back with action at First 8 Lanes. Dan Hutchison and Rob Viles in the top 10 tournament. And they're having a little bit of trouble with the lanes today. There's quite a bit of oil out there, and they're having trouble adjusting to that.
Grilled cheese is ready.
10 pin for Rob. Let's see if he's adjusted to make this spare. He did make it. Looks like that shot, Brandon. It's a good thing there was some oil out there.
Rob doesn't really throw a big hook on the 10 pin anyway, but he barely made that shot.
If there been any kind of dryness out there, that would have gone right by.
Rob usually goes open bowling twice a week with his friends. That's how he got interested in bowling.
And a good strike for Rob Viles in the 5th. And we'll get another look at Dan Hutchison. He's qualified 4 times in the top 10 tournaments. His first TV appearance. Dan was honored last year at the Wilmington Bowling Association Hall of Fame dinner as a Star of Tomorrow. One of the highest honors that are given in local youth bowling. And a 4-6 for Dan in the 5th frame. It's definitely one of our lowest scoring matches at this point for major boys. So the lanes are a little bit tricky today. Brandon, you'll be bowling on these lanes later today. What do you see out there?
Right now I see a lot of oil, but when I bowl, I don't think it'll all be there. So I just may have to do the opposite of what they're doing right now.
And a 1-2 for Dan Hutchison.
Still a pretty close match as we speak.
And a spare for Dan. In the semifinal match for the major boys, Dan Hutchison had a 193, defeating league mate Jared Pierce, who had a 186. And a good ball for Rob.
He has a double right now in this top 10 tournament right now. Speaking of tournaments, Rob likes tournaments because of the competition.
Here's a look at Dan Hutchison, concentrating on what he's going to be doing next. And Rob Viles comes through with Turkey in the middle of the game.
He seems to be reading the lanes a little bit more than Dan. Dan needs to come back in the game. About sounds good right now.
And Dan's still struggling out there.
Switch balls just recently right now. Yeah.
1, 3, 6, and a 9. And he's having a rough day so far. Dan finished the year averaging almost 218 at Blue Hen.
Crab cake sandwich with fries.
Well, there's a shot you don't see too often. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's like 2 splits in one. And he gets 3, and that's the 8th frame. We will be back with more of the Youth Top 10 after these messages. Back with action at First State Lanes in the final match. Final frames of the match, Youth Top 10 Major Boys. 2 Blue Hen competitors. Rob Viles with a turkey in the middle of the game. And a little bit of a break there, leaves another 10 pin. These lanes are definitely going to present a challenge to all of our bowlers in today's matches. And that was definitely out. Leaves Rob with a 140 through 8. Gives him a 48 pin advantage with 2 frames to go.
Even though he just missed the 10 pin, he's still really leading the game. He's really has room to make maybe one more mistake, but can't make too many more.
And the ball is just not coming up. I think the condition out here today is a little more difficult than what the pros see on Saturdays. What do you think, Brandon?
I think I really agree with you, Gary. The pros, they have a lot more oil than what we have, but they've been bowling for numbers of years, and they really know how to adjust. Right now,
A spare for Rob in the 9th. And Viles-Hutchison coming up in the 9th frame.
right now, Dan could use a serious strike.
And he's still struggling.
The lanes seem to be just a little oily for Dan. He switched balls. He switched to a ball that hooks a little bit more. Has a spare in the 9th frame. Like I said, hooks just a little bit more, but too much. Just too much at the back end, and it's not helping yet. Switch balls again, and he carries a strike.
He finally found something out there. Good ball by Viles-Hutchison in the 10th. I know neither bowler is particularly pleased with their efforts in this. And again, the ball just wouldn't quite come up to the pocket.
Looking at the speed, Dan threw it 14.52. Maybe just a little fast for these lane conditions today.
Okay, he ended up with a spare. Gives him a 132 game. Not one of his better efforts, but he's still smiling, and that's a sign of a true bowler. Good sportsman is Dan Hutchison.
Finishing up the match, Rob Viles.
And a break for Rob. That's one of the good things, Brandon, about Dan Hutchison. Why he won the award that he did is because of his attitude, which a lot of young bowlers have trouble with. When they start bowling bad, they get upset and angry. Dan doesn't. He just keeps plugging along and trying. Very good sportsman.
That's Dan's strong spot right there. Even I may get upset here and there, but I mean, you have to have a good attitude to bowl good if you want to bowl good.
And Rob Viles will finish his up. And he gets a 177 to Dan Hutchison. 132 will be. Welcome to First State Lanes Major Girls Youth Top 10. I'm Gary Trumbore. With me today is Brandon Moon, our co-announcer. And our first bowler, Bridgett-Lange from Blue Hen Lanes. And she's bowling against Jen Gibbons, also from Blue Hen Lanes.
Bridget's 18 years of age, and she's been bowling for 10 years. Her parents and her friends got her interested in bowling.
And she gets a 9 in the first frame. And we did this a little bit backwards this time, but that's okay. Our first look at Jen Gibbons on lane 1. And she gets a 6 count. Jen, as I said, is also from Blue Hen Lanes. She's 16. And her parents are Lee and Sandra. She has 2 brothers. And she's been bowling since she was 9. And again, we see that oil affecting the game. It's a 7 count. And Jen in the Coca-Cola tournament this year placed in 5th. 7-year bowler. And a nasty split for Jen in the second frame. 4, 6, 7. Brandon, this is our 3rd match today, and it still seems like there's a good bit of oil out on the lanes.
I think so too, Gary. Her first ball, it didn't hook back quite enough, so she tried moving over, but I think she may have moved too much, and the ball came in very high.
And here's our second look at Bridgett-Lange. She's got sort of an unorthodox approach. In the qualifying for the tournament, Jen finished with a 1390. Bridgett had a 1314 in the qualifying. That took place at Pleasant Hill, Brookside, and First State Lanes. And we'll get a look at Bridgett on lane 2 in the 3rd. She's on a spare. And a nice strike for Bridgett. She's found something. And now we'll get another look at Jen Gibbons. So both these girls are from Blue Hen, league mates. 2-4 for Jen Gibbons. And Jen says she's been influenced the most by her family because they're all good bowlers. She says, I usually don't bowl in many tournaments. When I do, I like meeting new bowlers, being competitive, and just hoping to win. And a good strike by Jen. And we'll be back with more after these messages. With Bridgett-Lange. And she comes out with a big strike. That's a double for Bridgett. There's a shot. Jen Gibbons contemplating the score. And Bridgett coming up. Good ball, leaves an 8-pin. And double put Bridgett in the lead, Brandon.
Jen still has enough room to come back, but she should come back very, very soon.
And a good spare by Bridgett. Jen Gibbons on lane 1 in the 5th. Halfway through. And again we see the 1-2-4.
Nice spare by Jen.
Contemplating the score. She's down about 30-some pins right now. Still early in the match. Only in the 5th frame, going into the 6th. A little bit of the mix leaves a 3-pin. There's Bridgett taking a look at the score. Very good shot by Jen. There's Bridgett in her new bowling shirt. And a good ball. Powerful ball by Bridgett. There's Jen looking at the score. She knows she's got some work to do. And if you look at the back, the one in the red is one of the head coaches at Blue Hand. And another strong strike by Bridgett. And we have Jen coming up. 7th frame. Little luck and she'd have had a strike on there. Been trying to help it, Brandon, but just didn't quite make it.
It was close, but I really think that pin should knock down to 7. It was a good ball. I liked it.
And she's shooting, and she makes the 7th pin. Nice shot. This is our 20th annual Top 10 tournament. We started in 1980. Brandon, you've had a chance to bowl in the last 3 Top 10 tournaments. What's your reaction to the format?
I like the top 10 tournaments. Unfortunately, I never made it on TV for the top 10, but it's a scratch tournament that's in 3 different houses, good competition, and it's always fun, always.
That's the 8th, which means it's break time. We'll be back right after this. And we're back with Bridgett-Lange. She's working on a double. 3, 6, 10. We're very high on that.
In tournaments, Bridgett likes the competition. This particular tournament's on TV, and I don't think she's nervous. She's having a really good time.
Well, I can see why she likes competition. She's doing real well today.
Picks up a spare in the 8th frame, which gives her 145 in the 7th, and a 7th spare in the 8th.
She's got about a 50-pin lead. Oh! A little bit of help there on that one. 18 mile an hour. There's Jen with that familiar shot. 1, 2, 4. I believe that's the 3rd time she's left that on that lane. And she's still not quite adjusting to that oil. 121 for 9. And Bridgett-Lange has this match wrapped up. But we're going to go to the completion of the match. Jen Gibbons in the 10th. Excellent ball. Looks like she had her hands better control in that ball than she did some of the others.
She threw the ball around the 3rd arrow. She didn't try to get the ball out and let the hook bring the ball out. 7 count by Jen.
3, 5, 6.
121 in the 9th, a strike in the 10th, and a 7 count.
Well, she'll be within range of her average here. A little bit short. 141 is her game. Not a bad showing. Certainly better than a number of the matches we've had today. This difficult oil condition. But Bridgett certainly found the range. She's within striking distance of a 200 game. That'll be the first 200 game we've had today.
She needs to spare.
Well, so much for that thought. But it's still a good game for Bridgett. 193 to 141 for the major girls. Bridgett-Lange is a year 2000 winner. We'll be back with more after this message.